Hi everyone. I hope that you're having a great day. My day's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. I am coming before you today because I had an idea. As you may or may not know, I have a podcast called Creating a Village. And it's great. It's wonderful. I love it. And I love that it's able to reach so many people, which is actually really crazy. I've been nurturing this idea and I want to share it with you so that I can get some feedback, get your opinions on it. Because if I am to proceed with this idea, it would be for the community. And I would want you all to be able to shape it and form it to be what you need it to be because it's about you. It's for you. So I need you. And these are just ideas and concepts. Nothing is currently like in the works. Well, it's in the works. Anyway, let me get down to business, okay? So, like I was saying earlier, Creating a Village is about supporting young adults who are navigating life's uncertainties, especially the young adults who feel a little bit lost in life. They're uncertain of their life path and whether they are graduating high school or they just graduated college. There's this kind of space of, what do I do now? What can I do? Can I do something that's not expected of me? Like, what's going on? And how do I maintain these adulting responsibilities that people are trying to throw in my face, right? That's what creating I'm sorry. That's what Creating a Village is about, essentially. We're focused on exposing young adults to practical life skills and practical life experiences so that we can help each other overcome the different challenges that we come to in life. And so over the course of the 6 months that I've had the podcast, I've received messages from individuals, asking for advice, for episode topics and things like that, and then sharing their own stories and expressing kind of a need for a more in-depth support system, which I would love to help provide. So the idea, the concept is having a dedicated space for the village community and even those who don't listen to the podcast to come and connect more deeply on the issues and things that we need help and assistance with in life. And so essentially the concept is a community site. It may include membership, may not, but the main concept is community. And it's not going to be just an extension of the podcast. It's going to be a whole new way to engage, learn, and grow together. So what does that community site look like? What I'm thinking is it will have kind of an interactive element for the podcast, which would be you can type in a forum, just post questions or topic ideas that you have for the podcast. We'd be able to read your questions live on the podcast. You'd be able to sit in on the podcast episodes. You'd know about the guests that we're having beforehand so that you can prepare any questions on a neat basis. And then you also have just kind of an easier route to be able to share your experiences in life, in different scenarios on the podcast if you so choose to. You are not required to. And if you do not want any of your questions, answers, concerns shared on the podcast, there would be completely an option for that, because this is a safe space. So, you can have complete anonymity if you need to. The next thing that I would want to be in the community site would be a resource hub. So every topic that we discuss on the podcast, I already have some resources lined up from that, like whether that be website recommendations, like a list of do's and don'ts for certain industries or certain just real life application fields that came up from our guest or just discussions in the podcast. There'd be a resource hub for that, so you can go into one location to locate those. As well as it would be like kind of like a live document in a sense, so that as it's updated, and even you, community, you'd be able to put your own resources in there, because my main thing is everyone is part of the village, so everyone can add and provide feedback for things. So if you have a resource that's related to a topic that we've discussed or we haven't discussed even, then it would be awesome for you to help build that resource hub, so that people who are looking for certain things, that you'll be able to update those and provide those resources for everyone to look at. Personal evaluation. So one of the things going through this journey of making the podcast, one of the things I've realized that is kind of like crucial and that is being pushed with the podcast is self-awareness and self-reflection. Because if you're not aware of where you are currently in your life, it's difficult to make the changes or transitions that need to be made for you to get to where you think you want to go to or where you need to go to, if you're not aware of where you currently are. So that can include like self-reflection worksheets. I know in one of my episodes, I think it's called like So Therapy, I was talking with my friend Anthony, and we were just, as we were talking, we were coming up with so many questions that we should ask ourselves when evaluating our relationships with other people, when thinking about where we're trying to go in life, right? Because if you don't kind of sit back and ask yourself questions of, what do I want in a family? Like, am I in that position now? If I had a child today, I know that's really drastic, but if I had a child today, whether I'm man, woman, would I be able to be the type of parent that I'd want to be? And not even monetary wise, but like interaction wise, as a human being, am I that person today? So different types of worksheets like that correlate to the topics that we're talking about. Yes. Okay. And so just like self-help tools, essentially. And then of course a community forum, like where you can engage with other people who are either listening to the podcast or not listening to the podcast, and they're just looking for people to kind of relate to or connect with. A community forum where you can ask questions, pose concerns, suggest like meetups. You can do all of those things. And then I'm also thinking about having an option for like virtual and physical meetups, because one thing I definitely want to start doing with the practical life skills component of the podcast is having a space where we can go to practice the practical life skill, whether that be cooking, whether that be woodworking, sewing, cleaning, all the things and more, but also just hanging out, because everything doesn't have to be about improvement, quote unquote, but just having a space where you can form camaraderie with people, I think that is so beautiful. And I would love to help provide that for people seeking that community and they're just uncertain of where to go to get it. So essentially, those would be the main components that I would start off with, that I'm thinking I would start off with. But I would love to hear your feedback on if any of the components you think are unnecessary or might be a bit too much, or you think they would be totally, totally awesome and you want to get involved. Let me know. So just to reiterate, the components, the features, like the interactive podcast platform, allowing you to ask questions to me, to guests, share your experiences more easily. The resource hub, the personal evaluation worksheets on the different topics that are discussed within the community forum, and then virtual and physical meetups. Yes. I really think this could be like a game changer for many of us. And it's still a raw concept, but I value your input and I would love for you to see what type of ideas you have, but also just if you're even potentially interested in being a part of the community, not planning it, not being on any committee, just being a part of the community. So let me know if you'd be interested in the community by either liking this video. You can DM me if you don't want to publicly say this would be awesome. If you're listening to this on on audio platforms, you can DM me on Instagram at CAV_village, or you can go to YouTube at Creating a Village podcast and comment underneath this video. Yeah. Thank you. A simple like will do. A comment would mean the world to me. Let me know what you're thinking. But yeah, and of course, if you have any suggestions or concerns, I'm all ears. But be gentle a little bit. But I really do value the creative feedback, the constructive feedback. So thank you so very much. And I hope that you have an amazing day. I'm so excited to see what we can potentially build and create together. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you keep creating a village wherever you go. Bye!